So here is my 3,000 points of Orks. Essentially we've got a Stomper here, and then down behind these buildings a couple of Death Dreads, one armed with the two big shooters and the other one armed all with power claws. As I come around the back here, we've got first squad of boys. In there is also a Pain Doc and the War Boss, who has a power claw and the Lucky Stick. There's also a Knob with a power claw there and two big shooters. The next squad of boys over, exactly the same, two big shooters, and the Knob has a big chopper. In front of them we have a Morkanaut with custom force field, and other than that as standard. And then to the left of him we have three killer cans, one with a big shooter, one with a Grotzuka, and one with a rocket launcher. And then to the left of them, another squad of boys, exactly the same as the other ones, two big shooters, and the Knob has a power claw. And then again over here, except the only difference here is the Knob has a big chopper. To the left of them, yet another Death Dread. However, this one has a Scorcher and a rocket launcher. And then three more kill cans at the front there. And arms exactly the same, except this one has a Scorcher as opposed to a big shooter. In reserve, I have three flyers, two Blitzer bombers, and one burner bomber. So now we'll go over to see what Dom has in his list.
Hello, it's Dom from BlackToad Studio, and here is my 3,000 points of Chaos. So I've got a combined arms attachment, and I've got the Renegade Knight formation. So starting off over here, we have the Knight known as Logar's Vision, armed with the Crusader Claw and the lovely chainsaw, also there with a autocannon on top. Moving along, we have the Sakaran battle tank with heavy bolted sponsons. We've got a level 3 flying demon prince, Mark of Nurgle with wings. Also have a spell familiar. And the psychic powers we have are invisibility and incursion. Also the Nurgle power is Nurgle Sprot, it's the Nova power. Here we have the Chaos Land Raider with Dirge Caster. On board the Land Raider we have 10 Chaos Marines, 2 Flamers and 1 Plasma Pistol. All the Chaos Marines armed with bolt guns, bolt pistols and combat weapons. So moving along here we have another Chaos Knight with the rockets on top. I can't remember what they're called, they're the free crack rockets. It's also armed with the Gatler and the 2-shot battle cannon, which is around here. In front of them we have 10 Chaos Cultists with combat weapons, no mark. We've got the Mauler Fiend with Magma Cutters. In reserve we have the standard Helldrake with the Bale Flamer. Moving along, we have 2 Chaos Rhinos, both with 5-man squads with melter guns and plasma pistols. Both Rhinos also have Havoc launchers, which could be quite handy in this game. Next we have the Chaos Knight known as the Fallen Sun with a thermal cannon and the Destroyer chainsaw there. Finally, we have another Chaos Demon Prince, Mark of Nurgle, level 3 with wings, with a spell familiar, and his psychic powers are Psychic Shriek and Summoning. He also has Nurgle's Wrath as well, the Nova ability. So that is my 3,000 points. Looking very nice. Not as numerous as the green skins, but that is to be expected. So currently I will be going first, unless Tom can somehow steal the initiative, and here we go. Thank God.
No.
So moving on to turn 1 for Chaos. So it's Dom from BlackToad Studio, joined by Tom from BlackToad Studio. And today we've got a special game. Tom has finally finished his massive Orc army. This is very intimidating to look at. So we've got the mission today we're doing is Tactical Escalation with the new Supremacy cards. So we've got Orcs versus, of course, the Word Bearers are out again. And they're going to strike down the Heretic Xeno. So let's have a quick look at the battlefield. We've got another industrial battlefield here. A few wrecked Imperial Guard tanks, which unfortunately got in the way of these two massive armies. So looking around the battlefield, we'll have a look where the objectives are. So we've got objective 3 over here. We have got objective number 5 down here with the kill cans. Moving around here. We have objective number 6 there with the ammo dump of the blown out Chimera. We have got objective number 1 tucked in here. We've got objective number 4 down here by the Lehman Russ, and objective number 2 there. So let's see what both of us are bringing to this epic battle. Okay, so turn 1 for the Chaos Forces. And we've drawn secure objective 1. So let's have a look at the rest of the movement and where objective 1 is. Right, so as you can see here, the Chaos Forces are pushed up on this flank quite heavily. Demon Prince has gone into flight mode almost immediately to scour the skies over the Orc forces. The Knight and the Mauler Fiend here are pushing up through the middle, hoping to deplete some of the greenskin forces that are assembled across the battlefield. The Cultists are holding ground at the moment, perhaps waiting to see what happens. Lamb Raider slightly pivoted towards the Stomper and the Death Dreads. Over here, the Sakaran has stayed out in the open, hoping really that we're getting invisibility off and can protect it somewhat. Moving along here, we have Logar's Vision here, lurking in the ruins, waiting for the opportunity to strike. So there we go, we've got a Stomper making its way through the city. Possible target. So we've drawn objective 1 to capture. Unfortunately though, I don't think we're going to be doing this straight away, as it's currently nestled between a couple of Death Dreads and meters away from this monstrosity. So we're going to move on to Psychic and shooting and see what Chaos can do in their turn 1. Right, so turn 1 Psychic and shooting for the Chaos. And for Psychic powers, this Demon Prince managed to cast invisibility on the Sakaran, which is out in the open, an obvious target. Also cast Incursion, so some Blood Crushers were summoned here and falling back slightly into cover there. Shooting wise, the Sakaran fired its autocannons over towards the Dreadnought there and took a hull point and immobilised it. The Lamb Raider here fired both las cannons and knocked out 2 hull points from the Stomper. It's quite nice to start with. Over here, the rockets fired over towards the Morkanaut. Unfortunately hit but didn't penetrate. The Gatler fired towards these kill cans here and killed one of them. Also the battle cannon fired both shots. One scattered off horrendously from these Orcs and the other one killed 5. So it's not too bad. Elsewhere, shooting wise, the thermal cannon also fired, trying to do more damage to this squad of Orcs and killed only the 1. So that is our shooting phase. We did a little bit of damage. We made him notice us. So we're going to move on now to turn 1 for the Orcs.
Okay, turn 1 movement for the Orcs. So starting off on the left over here. Kill cans went through cover, but only rolled a 3, so they didn't get very far. Death Dreads just behind them. These Orcs moved up to get onto the objective, but couldn't go much further because they were kind of being blocked by the kill cans. And then this squad moved up just towards where they were getting shot from because they were very upset. Morkanaut and the kill cans both moved up towards the Mauler Fiend and the Knight over there, with one of the boy squads just behind them. This boy squad moved up as well behind the Stomper. This Death Dread is currently immobilised, so he'll be kept an objective folder for this game. And this Death Dread moved out of cover to have a look at the Knight. Although it's probably suicide, it could be quite amusing if it works. So we will now see what happens in my shooting phase. Okay, turn 1 shooting for the Orcs. So, a couple of things happened this turn, so we'll just go for quickly. So the Death Dread shot its rocket at the Rhino over there, did nothing. The squad back here shot its 2 big shooters at the Demon Prince and actually managed to wound it and ground it, so it took 2 wounds from that, which is brilliant. This squad ran. These 2 didn't do anything, but they did shoot at the Mauler Fiend, but I did, was it a glance on that one? I think that's...
Yeah, one
Yeah,
glance.
one of them got a glance on that one, so it was the, unfortunately it was the Morkanaut that shot it that did nothing, that was right. So yeah, they could potentially charge out, we'll see in a minute, very lucky. This squad ran up just into this gap here. This boy squad ran up behind the Stomper to get some cover. Obviously this Death Dread is immobilised and this Death Dread ran an inch, so he didn't get very far towards his objective. The Stomper then proceeded to unleash all of its weaponry. So it shot 3 super rockets at the Land Raider and did nothing. It shot a super Gatler first at the Sicaran and did nothing. It shot a second shot at the Juggernauts and I think did nothing as well. And also jammed, so that is now no longer usable. And then other than that, it shot all of its big shooters at the Demon Prince hiding behind down here. And I think we took 1 wound off it, but it did not get grounded in the end. No. So that is my turn 1 over. So we'll now head over to Chaos turn 2.
Right, so turn 2 for the Chaos, and we maintain objective 1 there, which is unfortunately still in Orc hands, and we've drawn the bigger they are. So, score 3 victory points at the end of your turn if at least 1 Lord of War unit was completely destroyed during either psychic or shooting turn. So, possible. If at least 1 enemy Lord of War unit was completely destroyed during assault, it's D3 plus 3. Ooh! So we will see what the word bearers can do to that horrible Stomper. Right, so let's move on to movement. Right, so turn 2 for Chaos movement. And as we can see here, the Chaos are starting to dismount. These 2 squads of word bearers have dismounted, taking formation behind the defence lines against the incoming horrible kill cans here with their mechanical destructive weapons. Here as well, the Knight is slowly coming through the building. Probably going to put a few more shots in before it charges in. The Demon Prince is now no longer flying, he's just hopping about. So he's over there at the moment. He didn't jink, so he can still use his abilities quite nicely. Over here towards the centre of the battlefield, you can see the 3rd Chaos Knight kind of stomping in slowly. The Mauler Fiend, sensing blood, has gone in for the 2 kill cans, going to hopefully rip those apart, but we will see. Over here, Land Raiders and the Sicaran as well as the Cultists are still holding ground, still holding back for now. We have, though, Logar's vision here, charging through the smoke towards the Stomper, sensing glory. It's going to be a hell of an achievement if he can take this down, but we're going to try our best. Hopefully, getting a little bit of enhancement here from Demon Prince. Over on the flank here, we've got the Blood Crushers coming round, trying to flank the Orcs that are currently lurking behind the Stomper. So it's going to be an interesting turn. Right, so we're going to move on to Psychic and Shooting, and let's see what Chaos can do in turn 2. So turn 2, Psychic and Shooting for Chaos. Right, so the shooting phase. Both Havoc launchers from the Rhinos fired in over here, only knocking out 2 Orcs. The Demon Prince here, some cast Nurgle's Rot, killing 1 Orc from that group, 1 Orc from that group, and unfortunately 1 Chaos Marine because they don't have the marker Nurgle. Also though, we did cast Psychic Shriek on here and killed another one, so it's slowly dwindling, not particularly impressive. Both squads here fired plasmas, melters, crack grenades at the kill cans. We took 1 out, but the main event really was the Knight over here firing its battle cannon through the window, knocking 1 out. So it's kind of lowered the chances here of it doing any more significant damage against the Chaos. Okay, moving around here, the Knight once again fired the 3 rockets at the Morkanaut over here. But luckily for the Morkanaut, the Chaos Knight can't shoot for toffee, so nothing to worry about there. But the Knight did open fire with the Gatler and knocked out 6 Orcs there. So that was pretty impressive. Elsewhere, both the Land Raider and the Sicaran here opened up onto the Stomper, unable to do anything unfortunately. So the chances of taking it out in combat were lowered, but luckily the Demon Prince was able to cast invisibility onto the Knight, and it will be charging in this turn and hopefully doing a couple of hull points and holding it back for at least one turn. So I'm going to move into assault now. There's a few charges this turn, and we will see what happens in turn 2 Chaos Assault. Okay, so turn 2 assault for Chaos, and the Demon Prince was over here. He decided to charge in, but unfortunately I completely forgot that these Orks were in cover, and they completely butchered my poor Demon Prince that came through. So the Orks have now got first blood. Bit of a mistake on my half there. Over here, the Mauler Fiend charged in to the kill cans and butchered both of them, and though it did take one glancing hit from one of the kill cans in its dying frenzy. Over here, the fight, it was pretty close. Stomper is now down to 5 hull points after taking a fair hammering. I think it took 7 hull points in combat, so it's not great. But one hit did get through, and the Stomper did 3 hull points to the Knight. So it's pretty much neck and neck, really. I think the Knight still has a slight advantage depending how the gods decide next turn. Elsewhere, the Blood Crushers charged round. They killed 7 in their initial charge, which was quite impressive, but the War Boss decided to fight back and killed 2 of the Crushers off. Although it wasn't quite enough, and they still lost combat, but they didn't flee. So not a bad turn. As I said, the score has now changed. It is 1 to the Orks, nothing to the Chaos. So we're going to move on now to turn 2 for the Orks, and let's see what they can do.
Okay, let's start turn 2 for the Orks. My objectives are, the bigger they are, which I believe Dom drew in the last round, so we're both going after Lord of Wars here, and Storm Objective 3, which I had last turn, which means I've got to remove Objective 3 from the enemy. However, as Objective 3 currently is not held by anything, that is kind of a non-existent objective for me. So, movement-wise, this squad of Orc boys jumped over here and just moved up closer towards those Marines hiding behind there. These 2 Walkers moved up just around left here, looking at the Rhino and that squad. The remainder of this boy squad here moved towards the Dread Knight, the Imperial. I'm going to start again. So my turn 2 movement phase for Orks. My 3 flyers have come on. I'll go over their bombing runs in a second. With regards to movement though, the 2 Walkers here moved up around the left. One's taking a look at the Rhino, and the other one possibly looking at that squad there. This remaining boy squad here jumped over, heading towards those 2 squads there. This boy squad has taken a liking to the traitor Imperial Knight there. Just being lucky, I suppose, but we'll see what happens. The Morkanaut has moved to square up with the Mauler Fiend. Let's see what happens there. And then this boy squad has just gone through the gap here to try and get behind everything and possibly have a look at what's on their back lines. You never know, you might get lucky. This combat is ongoing, obviously, so no movement there, and that Death Dread is still immobilised. This Death Dread has moved around to either charge the Juggernaut or possibly just move up and try and help out in combat, but I don't think he can fit, unfortunately. I did also clear my War, which is ongoing, so also I can be able to do my run and charge, and then the bombing runs over here. The Burner Bomber came over this Chaos Marine squad here, dropped a bomb and missed. The other 2 Blitzer Bombers came over the Traitor Knight, and actually one of them managed to clip hit itself but didn't do anything, and the other one managed to actually hit and take off 3 hull points with a direct hit and a 6 and a 6. So all in all, not too bad. So now we'll move on to my shooting phase. Okay, so over here, this boy squad decided to run because I've had some failed charges before and I want to be right near them so I don't fail it. These 2 stay put ready to charge in a second. Morkanaut shot a few weapons into the Mauler Fiend but did nothing. This boy squad ran through here. It might get a lucky charge off on one of the things back there, it's just about got enough range, but we shall see. Other than that, we are now moving on into the assault phase. So let's see what happens. Okay, so turn 2 combat for Orks. over here, Death Dread finished off the Rhino quite easily, obviously. This squad managed to take, I think, 4 Marines in total.
Yep.
They didn't break, so they're still in combat. The Morkanaut, Hammer of Wrath, the Maul of Fiends Death, which was nice and good, so it didn't have to actually go through combat. And then down here, the most luckiest escape of them all was this Orc Knob, which managed to dodge a stomp attack with his, but put his 4 buddies underneath it instead. So he's actually locked that guy in combat, which is quite nice. Over elsewhere, yes, there is a small gap over here. The Stomper has blown up because he had several hits from the poor little knight there, who only lost a hull point from the resulting explosion. However, the very tough Orcs down here lost basically half their squad. So they did pass leadership, but I don't think they're going to be too much in the game. Other than that, this combat over here, the last Juggernaut has been removed from play after receiving many attacks to the face. So other than that, we're now moving over to Chaos turn 3.
Right, so Chaos turn 3. I've drawn defend objective 6. So I've got to defend objective 6 for 2 turns. Could be interesting. We'll see what happens there. Still got secure objective 1. We're moving slowly towards that one, and the bigger they are, so that I can no longer achieve that, as the Orc Stomper took a little bit of a stumble last turn. So we're going to move on to movement, and let's see what Chaos have done this turn. Right, so turn 3 movement for Chaos, and the cultists have seen their heroes in trouble, and they're pushing up to assist the Chaos Marines over there, which are currently engaged with the Orcs. Hopefully they can get there in time. I somewhat doubt it, but we will see. This Rhino has pulled back to prevent the Orcs from capturing this without a fight, so it's sitting now on objective 3. The Chaos Knight, which was here, is stormed through the ruins and is now sitting on objective 6 there, and possibly facing down the Morkanaut, which thought the other Chaos Knight was easy prey. So this could be an interesting fight coming in here. Elsewhere on the battlefield, the Land Raider has pushed up and its cargo has disembarked. This squad of 10 Chaos Marines have pushed up. They're going to lay down a serious amount of fire, hopefully, onto the Orcs there. The Sakaran is still holding steady, possibly eyeing up some of the air support, as the Helldrake still hasn't turned up, unfortunately. The Chaos Knight, known as Logar's Vision, has pushed up, going towards the War Boss. And finally, the Chaos Warlord, the Demon Prince, has flown over, vector striking this Dreadnought that was immobilised in the very start of the battle. Unfortunately, not doing anything in the vector strike, but looking intimidating nonetheless. So we're going to move on to Psychic and shooting, and let's see what Chaos can bring to the battle. So, turn 3, Psychic and shooting for the forces of Chaos. Right, so this guy fired his thermal cannon, hit, glanced, but unfortunately the Morkanaut used his shield and deflected it. So not good. Over here, Demon Prince tried to summon some Blood Crushers, didn't work. Bit of Nurgle's Rot and killed 1 Orc, I think. And of course made him invisible again. A little bit cheeky, but I need to keep him alive, and with 2 Power Claws and Dreads about, he needs all the help he can get. Over here, these guys disembarked and ripped apart these Orcs here. Unfortunately, there's one there. Tom, you got one Orc left here. He's dead.
Oh,
got to
thank
take him
you
off.
so much.
There you go. In-game stuff.
Very kind.
The AA gun fired from the Knight, taking out 1 hull point over here. Melter gun fired down here, hit an Orc, but unfortunately wasn't able to wound him. The las cannon and heavy bolt is also laying into these Orcs here, killing a couple. And really, the only other thing here, of course, these cultists ran round, infused with rage. They're trying to get into combat over there and cause a bit of damage. And finally, the Sakaran here fired its twin-linked auto cannons up here and causing another hull point. So A little bit of damage. We're going to move into Assault now and see if the Chaos Knights can do anything. So moving on to turn 3, Assault Chaos. Right, so turn 3 Assault for the Chaos, and unfortunately the Orcs are too much and the last 3 Marines fell to the wrath of the Greenskins. Moving along here, somehow this is still going. The Orc Knob dodging the Knight and his big stompy feet, and still didn't do any damage to one another, but they're still going on. Over here, the Knight charged in, causing quite a few hull points to the Morkanaut, but the Morkanaut hitting back and taking 2 off and concussing the Knight for the next turn of combat. Elsewhere there, a bit more success. Over here, the Knight charged in and he took out pretty much everyone, but the War Boss, the Painboy and the Knob. The Orcs failed a morale check, and the War Boss crushed the Knob's head to keep the Painboy in line, and they're both still fighting against the Knight. So that is it for turn 3 for Chaos, and we're going to move on now to the Orcs and see if the Greenskins can do anything to the Chaos forces.
Objective cards I drew were, well, Storm Objective 1, the other 2 I had already, which is Storm Objective 3, and the bigger they are still. So hopefully we'll get one of them this turn, but we shall see. So for my shooting phase, this killer cannon shot has got Zuka over at the cultists here, and managed to kill 2 of them. Other than that, that was it. Oh, hang on, there was one more, sorry, pardon me. The rocket from the Death Dread fired over at the Rhino and took a hull point off and shook it. Other than that, there was nothing else. So we'll now move on to the Orcs Assault phase. So to sum up the Orcs turn 3 Assault phase, we have a dead Orc Knob there, we have a dead Morkanaut here, and we have a dead War Boss and Painboy here. So not particularly brilliant, so yeah, we'll see how we fare next turn.
Right, so turn 4 here for Chaos, and we've drawn a commander field. So got commander field, defend objective 6, secure objective 1, and the bigger they are. So let's move on to the movement phase and see what Chaos forces have done. So freed up from its fight against the pesky Orc Knob, this Knight has moved around to deal with the threat here, as long as fighting alongside the cultists. And going around here, we will see the Fallen Sun has returned, and he is facing down against these Orcs and the kill can here. Moving across the field, Orc bodies and Chaos bodies lie everywhere, but we have over here Logar's Vision is facing down against this poor immobile Dreadnought. He's probably just snapping desperately, trying to get one hit on it, but we are going to see what will happen now in the shooting phase for Chaos. Right, so at the end of turn 4 shooting for Chaos, the battlefield has changed significantly. The Orc boys that are here were destroyed by the fire from the cultists and the Gatling cannon. Over here, the Knight fired its melter thermal cannon at the kill can and wiped that out. The Knight also fired its battle cannons and rockets and knocked out this Dreadnought here. So, not good. So coming over here, combined fire knocked out the last Dread there. So the Orcs have been completely vanquished from this battlefield. The only things remaining are the 2 fighters in reserve, which of course will turn up next turn. But the fighters have circled around and seen the devastation and decided maybe today is not the best day to die, and fled back to the Orc airstrip. So it's a Chaos victory. It's been pretty bloody. Casualties are heavy on both sides, but at the end the Chaos Walkers have secured the field. Tom, do you have a model of the match?
I think the Morkanaut did alright, considering it sort of killed them all the feed and survived around the combat, but not really, to be honest. It was a bit I mean, the Orc boy in the middle, maybe, that held out for 2 hours of combat against a knight. That's quite impressive.
Knob.
As well as nothing really did anything
here.
spectacular other than that. So I'd say that's probably the most interesting thing that happened.
Maybe this
that red
is the smear of the Orc. But yeah, he did very well. He kind of avoided the big stompy foot coming down and crushing him, so that was pretty impressive. For myself, it's probably going to be this knight. With the aid of invisibility, he did last quite a long time, and he did take out Dreadnought, a Stomper, the War Boss, and all his little mates. Oh, and the Broken Dread that was there. Yes. So, pretty impressive. A really good game. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you've all enjoyed watching it. Please give us a like if you have enjoyed it. Any comments are always welcome. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And this is Dom and Tom, and we will see you next time.